Hello there, it's Chris Warburton here, and welcome back to another video. So today, guys, we're going to be going over AI and automation. So how can we automate our agency or coaching business so that we can bring back time or give us more time so that we can focus on scaling the business, making more money, spending more time with family, whatever you want, okay? So before we jump in, for those who don't know me, I am Chris. I am the owner and founder of Truth Acquisition, and we help scale agencies and coaching businesses using AI, automation, pay on results systems, sales processes, literally everything. Let's jump into this video. So, first of all, before we can kind of get our head around systems and things like that, we need to know the fundamentals. Okay, so here I've got some fundamentals of a system, or key fundamentals, I should say. So, of course, there's many different systems in the world. You know, we've got nuclear power plants. There'll be systems in there. We've with the body as a system itself. You know, the cardiovascular system, things like that. So, I'm very aware that there is more complicated things to systems and more complicated fundamentals. But when it comes to client acquisition, okay, this is literally everything. Okay, this is all we need to know. These are the only fundamentals we really need to know, and of course the fundamentals underneath as well. But yeah, it's a basic and simplified way of systems rhetoric and stuff like that. So let's jump in. So the first thing is function. The function of a system is, of course, what a system does. The inputs. So this is information, okay? Stuff or information that we put into the system. So this is typically be leads, okay? Information of people, with their first names, their contact number, email, whatever the system is. It might be if it's a DM system, it's going to have with the information we're going to put in is going to be Facebook URLs, Instagram URLs, stuff like that. If it's an email system, first names and email addresses, okay? So this is just the information that we put into the system. Processes. Okay. So processes, they're actions that change slash process inputs into outcomes. Okay. So we put this information in. The processes, of course, process these and again, they're actions that change slash process the inputs into outputs. Outputs are the final results of the processes. Okay, so they're the outcome of the inputs getting processed. Feedback. So this is information, data that can be used to improve the system. And the way that we get feedback is by tracking, okay? Which is why it's so important that you track every single point of your client acquisition system. And the reason that we track every single point is because if you were to leave out some, processes in the system and you weren't tracking them, then if something was to go wrong with the system, you wouldn't know what it was because you've not tracked every single point of the client acquisition system. But if you track every single point of the client acquisition system and you have the right KPIs in place, all you need to do is look back at that data and you can identify bottleneck within that system. And then you know what to fix in the system, okay? Simple as that. So feedback and data is so important. If you're not tracking and you're not collecting a substantial amount of data, using regression to the mean and things like that, you're literally just building your business blindly. So the next is environment. Okay. So this is where the system operates. So the environment is typically your market, your niche. And yeah, it's really as simple as that. So of course, if I operate in the marketing and or marketing agency and coaching space. So that's my market, that's my niche. So your niche, it may be burnout for women, it may be life coach. You may get leads for tree surgeons, you might be a marketing agency, whatever it is, that's where you operate. Okay. So that's the environment that you operate in. So here's a little diagram to help visualize that. Okay. So as you can see here, we've got the environment, the niche, the market that you're in, and then your system lives in that market. Okay. So of course, um, variables and things that happen with your system, um, the environment can be a factor of that. Okay. So we've got the inputs that get processed into outputs. And then throughout this whole process, we are tracking and collecting feedback. Okay. Now, here we've got a an email system, okay, an appointment booking email system. Now, I've used this diagram before, but it's quite an easy way to, visualize all of this. So we've got inputs, processes, outputs, feedback. So our inputs in this case are leads. Leads are just information of prospects. We then put this information, these inputs, into the processes. So they go into an automated sending software. In there, we've got prime domains, we've got email accounts, okay, different email accounts that send out 25 emails per day. And the outputs of this system, okay, these processes are 2 to 3 booked appointments per day. Then throughout this whole process, we are tracking everything, okay, every single point of the system. So, if anything does go wrong and our system starts to drop and we start to only book, 1 to 2 booked appointments per day, all we need to do is look back at that data and we'll be able to find the bottleneck within the system. And let's say, it's the emails, the deliverability is dropped on them. So therefore, they're landing in the spam folder much more. We can look back at the data and identify that that's the actual problem, and then we can fix that problem. Okay. So this is why it's so, so important that you do track and collect feedback and data. Now, this is all well and good. This is the easy stuff, but how can we use other AIs and automations, to automate our business so that we've got so much more time back? We can focus on other things, scaling the business, spending time with family, whatever it is. And it's really quite simple, to be honest. So if you can't find an AI and a software to automate some parts of the business, all you need to do is find somebody or hire somebody who can. To do that properly and effectively, we need correct procedures to do that. Okay. So we use SOPs, which is standard operating procedures. So for closers, high ticket closers, you can't automate that with AI. Okay. I don't think you will be able to for a very, very, very long time, if ever, just because of that personal touch. But in this case, we'd have an SOP, a standard operating procedure, to ensure that we hire the right closer who's going to perform correct, they're going to hit the KPIs, and represent our business properly. Okay. And there may be other things as well, like such as maybe on a consulting role where we'd have to have that personal touch there. But when it comes to something that I've actually stumbled upon recently, when it comes to the general kind of knowledge that a consultant provides, the consultant doesn't need to be there constantly answering the questions for general knowledge. Okay. So what we can actually do is we can use ChatGPT 4, and I can put my information from my program into that, so that if the client ever forgets something or they need help with something or whatever it is, they can actually go to the AI consultant first and ask a question. If that doesn't answer the question properly, then they can go to the consultant. And this means I don't have to hire as many consultants. Okay, so it saves me a load of money, saves me a load of time as well. And it just kind of makes the whole process as efficient, easy as possible, save me money, and it makes it easier for the it makes it easy for the client as well. Okay, because they're actually not having to wait for the consultant to reply to them. If it takes an hour for a consultant to reply, a real consultant, I should say, a human consultant, then this AI instead it's going to give them a reply within a few seconds. So it's better for the client as well. Now, you don't want to. It's important that you don't automate all of your support. Your client needs some kind of human contact, that personalized touch. So that's crucial as well, which is why if I do go ahead with this process, I'll always have a personal consultant for my clients. But just for that easy general knowledge, questions that the prospect might have already asked already, but they've forgotten, they can go to that and automate something like that. Okay. Other things we can automate is the onboarding. So as soon as the client pays for everything, automatically get an email, a login created them for a program. They automatically get a video sent to them that tells them everything about it. And this cuts out time for having a onboarding call. Okay. So this saves loads of time as well. This makes it easier for you to scale, make more money, etc. Other things that we can actually start to automate now, especially recently, with they're getting better and better, is outreach bots. So instead of you paying for a VA, a virtual assistant from maybe the Philippines or wherever it is, to send these automated messages, they automate the sending themselves, of course, but to send out these DMs, instead we can get AI bots that automate and send out automatically. So this saves time. We don't have to micromanage. We save money, and save money on actually training the people up. Giving them that support, making sure they're doing the job properly. And yeah, it just cuts out way more time. Make sure that we're delivering properly, consistently sending every day without having to do anything. It's honestly crazy. And below this, I've also got some other AIs and automations. And honestly, there's way more than this. Okay, there's way more AIs out there, but these are things that I've been using, and also a couple of things that I've recently run into that I didn't know existed. But like I said, because AI is rapidly advancing and evolving, things are just popping up all the time that are incredible for agencies and coaching businesses. So here's a few. Okay. So I mentioned before, we've got the AIs that send the personalized DMs. We have AIs, bots that can send personalized email and actual text messages as well. So text message is an interesting form of outreach, but it makes sense. Okay, everyone's got a phone. Response rates are great on there as well. The only cons to SMS outreach is there's a lot of things going on with scamming over SMS, so people are typically more cautious. Still a great way though to book appointments. We've got AI cold callers. Now, I've never tried this out. I've not looked into it too much. But from what I gather, it's not proper cold calls. It's more leaving voice messages and ways to direct people to maybe a sales funnel or something like that. So these could be effective. I can see in future them being more effective. If AI gets good enough, it could realistically listen to a load of calls as an actual person, replicate their voice, replicate their sales tactics, and possibly could sound like a real person, which would be crazy if that's the case. But yeah, we've got AI VAs, okay, so virtual assistants and consultants, okay, so that's what I was talking about, what I'm thinking of going into to help more with the support for my clients and stuff like that as well. We've got AI sales tools. Okay. So now we've got when you're collecting data by recording Zoom calls and you want to iterate your sales process, we've now got it so Zoom have AIs on there where they make transcripts so that you can find things and listen to things and analyze data properly. We've even got AI lead sourcing now. Okay. So there's one called Lead Swift that I use. It's kind of it's not the best because it doesn't populate first names. So I have a VA that actually goes over that and makes sure that the first names are proper. But what this does is any kind of online presence at all, it goes out and finds them and gives us a big list of leads of our ideal client. Okay. And then from there, of course, we have to refine it even more by making sure the emails are correct, the first names are correct, stuff like that. And yeah, so that AI lead sourcing, it's not fully AI'd out yet because I wouldn't need a VA if it got the proper information. But it's expected, AIs are getting brought out all the time. They have to go through beta testing phases where, the public have access to it, but there's always going to be bugs and stuff like that. But yeah, either way, it's rapidly evolving. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. It's incredibly exciting. And you guys, if you're not getting on the AI train, if you're not researching and looking into it, or at least, getting involved with people who can provide you with those expertise and frameworks, then you're going to be left behind. Your competitors are going to use this stuff. They're going to book the clients that you could have booked, and your business is ultimately going to burn and die. Okay. That's not me trying to give you some pain there to try and get you to book an appointment with me. But honestly, that's the facts of the matter. Okay. If it's exactly like businesses that didn't get onto using the internet when the internet happened. Look, we've got places now, high streets are shutting down. There's online businesses that were never on the high street in the first place, but they set up online and they make millions compared to, you know, the typical shops on the high street that have now shut down because, the web has become an easier and better place to shop. So this is the exact same thing. If you're not evolving with the times, you're going to be left behind. All right. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you got some value from this. Um, Remember to subscribe so you get more value. Like the video if it helped. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.